on a separate window here. So I've got to see if this will show my current live stream or not. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to go with chat on the top. I kind of want chat on the screen at the same time, like I did with Twitch. But I never really tried this before YouTube. It must be possible though. That's content, live replay. What? Okay, well it's showing something there, but I can't see it there at the moment. Dashboard, content again. Try going back. Won't be under posts, videos, shorts, live. I mean, I might just have to try and find my own live stream as a YouTube thing and try and go into it that way. Let's see. Right, here we go. Okay, so just got obviously, well, not pause it, but mute it. Right, I want this chat. This is what I want. I don't want this bit. No, Big Red. I'm not going to be attacking animals in the stream, but I am going to try and figure out how the feck I get this so I can have it pop out chat. This is what we want. Alright, we drop that down there. Now we're cooking. Alright, pull that there. So we've got perfect reads and screw-ups. Every screw-up is a 15-minute run in Subnautica 2 when that drops. Oh god, that's going to be horrible. Hey, Dun Grizzly. What's this? Yes, the Subnautica and light stream, yes. It's better to pop out the chat than mutilate poor animals in video games. Oh. No, Jacob, no, there's no cat milking. Jesus Christ. Alright, I got my tea now. I'm still getting over this cold that I had. God. More than a week ago now. So, my throat sounds a bit weird. It's because I'm still getting over that. So, if I suddenly have, like, if I break reading with a sudden cough or whatever, I don't know if I can really count that as a fuck up. But if I flub a word or whatever, then it's a definite fuck up. I don't think I'll be able to get through every mech in this in 2 hours, but we'll see how far we get. I was going to wait until it actually hits the top of the hour for anyone else who wants to, who can sort of drag their way in time. So we'll wait, well, less than 2 minutes, and we'll get that sorted. Oh. Now, a tea is nice. It's warm drink. It's good for the throat. But it's also got milk, which is bad in some respect because it will make your throat muscles contract slightly. And it's tea. Yes, no, tea isn't bad in general. Big Red. No, tea is good. Actually, everything is bad at the moment. No, tea is not bad. Stop saying tea is bad. Just saying it in capitals doesn't mean it's more true. If that was the case, I could type clans bad, but it doesn't seem to do anything. It doesn't fix the problem. It doesn't mean more true. No, it doesn't. Shouting C. Crazy bastard. Fucking hell. No, it doesn't. It's just got to stop shouting. Right. Not coffee, no. Not the problem is even it doesn't taste the same because it's fucking cold. Everything just tastes crap. Now coffee equals bad. So he's going to sound like Walder. Right. We can't be too far off, can we? Yeah, there we go. Right. This is it. The big technical readout of 2024. What has all to do with the type of milk you add? Well, this is semi-skimmed because Because the other two members of the household for years ago went, oh, well, we've got to be more health conscious, so we'll have semi-skimmed milk. Which ruins it. I was like, blue top. 2020, TRO 2024 would be disappointing, yes, but I thought that the play on words of the Great Technical Readout 2024 would be better than me going the Great Technical Readout 3025. Because that's almost a statement, and it's to say, like, oh, Technical Readout 3025 was great. And I was like, yeah, it is. The version of the TRO I'm reading is different. There's about 90 minutes of Subnautica stuff over here. Fuck off, no more. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, God. Okay, sorry about that. LCT-1V Locust. Overview. The Locust was one of the most produced and common battle mechs of the fallen Star League. Bergen Industries began production of the mech at 8 of their facilities in 2049. Fuck! God damn it. That's 15. That's for 15 minutes. Okay. It's a good start. LCT-1V Locust. Overview. The Locust was one of the most produced and common battle mechs of the fallen Star League. Bergen Industries began production of the mech at 8 of the facilities in 2499, and was still in peak production when the Star League fell several years later. Several variants of the mech have been produced and modified over the years, creating quite distinct versions, all modifications involving upgrading the Locust's firepower. Capabilities. The Locust was originally designed as a light and fast recon vehicle, a role it's fulfilled well for both the old Star League and the late successor states. Lightly armed and very mobile, it offers fast recon ability, as well as quick strike capability. The Locust of 3025 retains these features, but in many cases also acts as a frontline mech. The mech's weakness is its size. Though it often packs a great deal of firepower, many Locusts do not have enough heat sinks to be able to use all of their weapons effectively. As speed as one of its major assets, the LCT-1V is often placed with the front is fluid, as it's quick enough to respond to a possible enemy breakthrough. More often, however, the Locust must fight a holding action until larger, better-equipped mechs can arrive. It is the rare mech warrior who enjoys piloting a Locust for any length of time. It's currently the smallest of all mechs used, and thus is outclassed by just about any other mech on the field. Lacking the jump jets and hands of other smaller mechs, the Locust is limited in close firefights or in mech-to-mech combat. As a direct hit by almost any weapon on the battlefield can destroy or quickly cripple a Locust, it is usually deployed in groups of 3, which then have the ability to encircle opposing mechs, making many large mechs that wander off in battle have fallen to such attacks. ABFG. Battle history. During the First Succession War, many commanders of the day were still using the tactics of warfare developed over the past 200 years of the Star League and the Reunification War. As House Kurita forces drove onto the Davian world of New Avalon, the Davian generals saw that the time had come for bolder tactics. General Kessam of House Davian found his forces dug into a stalemate confrontation with Kuritan troops on the world of Ludwig. In a desperate gamble, he quickly reorganized his troops to form 5 lances made up almost totally of Locusts and other fast-moving units. In a bold attempt, he ordered these mechs to attack the weakened front of the Kuritan border. Davian losses were staggering, but once the mechs had penetrated the Kuritan lines, they moved quickly to the rear area. The Locusts themselves didn't pose a threat, but they did manage to pull several crack Kuritan units off the front to search for them. This allowed General Kessam to mount a strong counterattack that slowed the fall of Ludwig by several months. In more current battles, House Steiner engaged House Marek on the world of Callison in 3020. Elements of Marek Militia's 10th Regiment were supporting several recon lancers composed of Locusts and their variants. In the city fighting at Rolso on Callison, these units more than proved their worth, with their ability to navigate narrow streets and playing havoc with the infantry in the nearby buildings. During the Davian Kurita battle over Royal, House Davian saw Locusts at their best and their worst. On the good side, several all-Locust detachments from the 8th Regiment of the Deneb Light Cavalry managed to flank Kurita lines and caused considerable destruction and confusion in Kurita rear areas. But this disruption did not prevent the almost complete annihilation of the 3 companies of the 10th Deneb Locusts, who blundered into an ambush of Kuritan heavy and assault lancers. Another notable engagement involving Locusts was an attack by Helmar Valasek against a small Kurita garrison on Porthos in 3024. In that engagement, a Bandit Union-class dropship slid past the fighter cover and disembarked several fast combat lancers consisting of locusts, wasps, and stingers. In a lightning attack on an arsenal that the bandits seized the supplies they'd come for and escaped off-world. Though the Curitan garrison was well defended, its mechs were too slow to pursue the attacking locusts. Variants. The prototype Locust LCT-1V with its medium laser and machine gun armament is the most common of the class, accounting for about 75% of the still functioning Locusts on successor state battlefields. Several short-run production prototypes were later introduced, and several modifications have also appeared after the start of the First Succession War. The Model 1S supports less armour and carries 2 SRM-2 packs, as well as 50 rounds of ammo and a Martel medium laser. Sorry, got put. Excuse me. The Model 1M Locust reduces its armour and carries 2 LRM-5 packs, 24 rounds of ammunition, and the popular Martel medium laser. This version is used mainly by House Davian's SETI Hussars. Model 1E is the Locust variant least produced and least resembling the others, reducing its armour in favour of more weaponry. The 1E carries 2 arm-mounted medium lasers as well as 2 small lasers. Notable mechs and mech warriors. Lieutenant Martha Mavries. Lieutenant Mavries is currently assigned to the Recon Lance of the 32nd Line Guard Support Regiment. I just want to point out here, it says is currently assigned to B. See? To B Recon Lance. Not the Recon Lance, to B. See? Sometimes when the text is weird in fucking Law Warriors, it's because they didn't proofread this shit. Mavries is a tall, thin woman whose cheeks are scarred heavily from a childhood accident. She pilots a Locust named the Stomper after her accident in a battle in the city of Shull on the planet Alexandria. In that engagement, Mavries became famous for stepping on small hovercraft and other vehicles who were defending the city. And mech warrior George McPherson. Attached to House Davian's Capellan March militia, McPherson commands a light recon unit in the regiment. He's turned down several opportunities to pilot larger mechs in favour of his Locust, Wanda's Wonder, which is named after his sister, a mech warrior lost in battle for Hoan. He never refers to his mech as a Locust, but rather as a garbage can with firepower. McPherson is respected as and well known throughout the Free Worlds League for his fighting skill in this small mech. What's that, man? Does everyone else have the game Counter-Strike Go as the game that this TRO is about? Right, I think that I will give myself there was at least, I'd say there was one other flub there, so I'm up to 30 minutes now. Christ, 30 minutes, 2 mistakes. The first one was in, what was it, line 4? Fuck's sake. Oh, I can already feel it. It's gonna get worse. Right, so the Locust is 20 tons. Chassis is the Bergen 7. Power plant is 160 LTV. Cruise speed of 86.4 kph, max speed of 129.6 kph. No jump at all, jump capacity. Its armour is the 1-star slab. Its armament is a single Martel medium laser with 2 Sperry Browning machine guns manufactured by Bergen Industries. Communication system is the Garrett T10B, and its targeting and tracking system is the OP911. Does the video describe it as CSGO? Really? Okay, that's interesting. YouTube's off its tits. Oh man, okay, that is kind of strange. I wonder, does it? Yeah, to actually say. No, it doesn't on here. Okay, a bit weird. Even the video description on CSGO doesn't say it anywhere. You're mad. You've gone mad, man. Absolutely fucking bonkers. God, that was great art though in the original, wasn't it? They'll never really surpass that. The original Locust just looks so good. We also have to change the zoom now because for some reason that first Locust page is fucking massive. So all the text is like, I don't know why. It's just, yeah, it's such a sweet looking design, all the sort of swivel joint for the gun and all that. But, yeah. I don't dislike the new one, don't get me wrong. But, right, we're on to the Wasp now. Oh, God. So the WSP-1A Wasp. Overview. The WSP-1A Wasp was the first recon mech to be mass-produced for the Terran military. Since its initial production in 2471, the mech has spread to all parts of human-occupied space. Old Starlead records show that thousands of Wasps were constructed in the 4 centuries preceding the Succession Wars, and though many of these have worn out or been destroyed, estimates show that more than half this total is still in operation. Further, some Wasp designs are still being constructed in some areas of the successor states. The large number of Wasps available for use should ensure that it remains among the main light recon mechs of the successor states for centuries to come. The Wasp design has always been used for general scouting and reconnaissance duty. Far too lightly armed and armoured for battle, its speed and manoeuvrability can generally keep it out of major confrontations. Just change it to something about drones, you'll get thousands of hits. Oh yeah, because of that recent thing with all the drones, yeah. Capabilities. The WSP-1A Wasp is well fitted out for its scouting role, with a maximum speed of over 95 kph on open terrain. The mech can usually flee from most harm. With its sophisticated Rawlings 52 jump jets, it can also bypass natural or unnatural obstacles with ease. Unless the jump jets are used extensively, heat buildup is rarely a problem for the Wasp. It can, in fact, fire its entire weapons complement continuously with little or no heat problem. The Wasp's armour is average for light mechs, which means it can't stand up to much punishment. Usually 2 hits in the same area is enough to damage the mech and cause major problems. The Wasp is armed with a diverse optics Type 2 medium laser placed in its right arm. A Bical SRM-2 rack is mounted for close-in fighting. A major design flaw of the mech was discovered during the reunification war of 2575 to 2597. During the Battle of Imbros III in March 2580, the tactic of jump kicking gained popularity. With this maneuver, jump-capable light and medium mechs could jump and smash their leg components into the head and upper torso of opposing units. Hoping to cause more damage than they inflict upon themselves, this tactic was very popular amongst Wasp warriors, as it improved their offensive potential somewhat. Practitioners of the tactic soon learned, though, that most Wasps are only able... oh shit, I just unconsciously said something there, didn't I? I did not say most Wasps. It was supposed to be Wasps, but I know Naman will be laughing. I know he caught that. So that's a screw up. Oh fuck, that's 45 minutes now. Shit. No perfect reads yet. Practitioners of the tactic soon learned that most Wasps were only able to use the jump kick once, even if the leg damage was repaired before another close combat. After performing the first or second jump kick, the lower leg assemblies of the Wasp would actually rip away from the body at the instant of impact, leaving the mech totally immobile in the field, not a Freudian slip. The problem was finally traced to the stress bars along the actuator paths in the lower leg components. The designers had never dreamed that a tactic such as jump kicking would be developed for lighter mechs, and so hadn't really given them the monomolecular stress-resistant material that was used on newer and heavier mech types. By 2610, nearly all Wasps and other light mechs were rebuilt with MMSR actuator bars, alleviating the amputation problem. Battle history. During the Civil War, brought on by Stefan the Usurper, loyal Star League forces launched an assault at the planet Silene IV in March 2772. Massed recon lancers composed mostly of Wasps and other light mechs screened the assault. Not waiting for the major forces of the Loyalists to drop onto the planet, the rebel defenders launched a counter-offensive against the scout units. Many of the light mechs simply fell back in good order and awaited reinforcement. Some, however, were caught in the front of impassable terrain, allowing the rebels' medium and heavy mechs to decimate the units before any support could arrive. Oh, God. Sorry. Oh, God. By sacrificing these Wasps and other light mechs, the main Loyalist assault force were able to drop on planet unopposed, for the Usurper forces were scattered from their many skirmishes with the first wave of Loyalist scouts. The Loyalists made short work of the rebels, and the planet fell to them within 4 days. In April 2796, the infamous Kentaris massacre would occur after Minoru Kirita's assassination. Oshita's recon lance, the 1st Sword of Light Regiment, gained the ignominious honour of exacting the most civilian casualties on the population in that month-long killing spree. The Wasps of his lance are particularly infamous for their systematic butchery in well-inhabited, hard-to-evacuate areas like hospitals and high-rise apartment buildings. When word of the atrocities reached House Davian, its leaders placed a high price on the heads of the mech warriors in Oshta's recon lance, and by 2801, all 4 mech warriors, along with their techs and support personnel, had been killed in combat, or by bounty hunters. What, you think I need to turn up the volume on the tablet so that I can hear when I make a mistake? Right. Because that wouldn't create like a bizarre feedback loop at all, would it, for anyone listening to it? Well, and for me, of course, hearing me coming through a few seconds behind me. That's what you're trying to do, man. You're trying to make it worse. Make it more difficult than it already is. I'm only up to 45 minutes. I'm nearly up to an hour in Subnautica, for fuck's sake. Actually, I gotta change that Subnautica 2 time, haven't I? There we go. Just lest we have anyone thinking it's going to be the first game. No. We've already done the first game a bit. We're not going back to that hell. Variants. There have been 5 major variations of the basic Wasp design. The Davian variant simply replaces the SRM twin rack with 2 small lasers and a flamer. This increases the heat output somewhat, but not to serious levels. The House Kurita version increases the Wasp's armor at the expense of some close-range hitting power. House Lao have dropped all standard weapons and added a single SRM quad rack, or an SRM4, to its Wasp variant. Finally, many Wasps of the mercenary regiment Wolf's Dragoons are equipped with 6 small lasers for heavy-hitting close-range fire, at the expense of any medium or long-range capability. Notable mechs and mech warriors. No, Narcosis 2 is not an acceptable substitute. I don't even think there is a sequel to Narcosis, and even if there is, I'm not fucking playing it. Ross Malone. Part of Cushing's Scout Lance of McGee's Cutthroats, currently in the service of House Kurita, Ross Malone is noted as one of the best trackers in the successor states. Oh, I know, Gooba, I know, I'm sorry, yeah. Oh, it's Rocket talking about those dumb robots, God, this guy. How you doing, Gooba? His mission is usually that of shadowing enemy mech forces before battle, trying to ascertain their strength and intention. An expert in mech camouflage, Malone personally repaints his Wasp the Night Shroud after every campaign. As a member of the Cutthroats, he's masterminded a number of effective ambushes. Not interested in promotion, he intends to continue his career as one of the Succession War's best scouts. The idea is he's like an expert in mech camouflage. Just like sometimes he paints it in very interesting ways, so it can blend in perfectly. Like the Ferris wheel just stands there, the right angle. Big clown with balloons. We'll never see it. Mech warrior Jody Okigama, a member of Smithson's Chinese Bandits, one of the best names for a mercenary group. Jody Okigama is well known for her tactic of backwalking, in which she's become quite adept. During combat, she'll walk or run her Wasp, the Doba 3, backwards while continuing to fire her weapons at pursuers. This dexterous use of her mech has pulled her out of a number of tight situations and helped to tally up a score of 11 kills. It's quite an achievement for a pilot of a light mech. Next year I'll be playing Beat Saber reading the tiara. Oh god, that'd be a thing, wouldn't it? Oh, fucking hell. Oh. Was that perfect read? No, I screwed up. Yeah, no, I didn't. No, there was that Freudian slip. I can't call it. It's not perfect read, unfortunately. There it is. What a beauty. Oh, what a beauty. This is also the one that has the SRM2 in the left leg, which means it actually has a bizarre thing. Rule-wise, the SRM2 can't fire to the sides. It can only fire forward, based on its positioning. Which actually means that if you get to the side of the Wasp, it actually loses one of its weapons. It could also twist and obviously fire its machine gun and its medium laser at you, but it can't use its other heavy hitting weapon. So that's always thought that was an interesting little rule quirk. Also, doing all right. You're just working at the moment. At least you have something to listen to on lunch break. How are you, Bro Kitty? Yeah, we're all right. Yeah, we're getting on. We've all this cold, Goober, unfortunately. So it's that's why I've still got this cough. Yeah, it is the best TRO, Joe. Yeah, and I do quite like 2750, but I think this has the best write-ups. I don't think any have ever really surpassed this one. I don't know why they changed them in some of them. So it's mass 20 tons, chassis is the 1A Type 3, power plant is the GM120, cruise speed 66.5 kph, max speed 95.1 kph, jump jets are the Rawlings 52 with a jump capacity of 180 meters. Armor is Duralex Light. Armor has a single diverse optics Type 2 medium laser with one bical SRN twin rack, manufactured by General Mechanics Incorporated. Communication system is the Duotech 65 and targeting and tracking system is provided by Radcom TXX, or probably T20 is probably it. I know, yeah, just stop having a cold. It's simple solution, but somehow it just doesn't work. Walk of 6, run of 9, jump of 6 with 10 single heat sinks. Oh, what a beauty she is, the Wasp. They can redesign it, but that is the best look of the Wasp, hands down. Those anime designers back then, they knew their shit. They knew what they were doing. Yeah, real shame that they can't look quite as good as this. Well, quite as good as this. Oh, the Stinger. So sexy. Look at that fucking head. It's amazing. Absolutely awesome looking light mech. Again, a pity that the Stinger had to change. This one. We got to try and get it perfect. This is going to be my first perfect read. It's got to be Stinger. Read. Sorry, just go. I feel it. It's just there. It's on the tip. It's on the back. It's waiting. It's waiting to cough. I don't want to cough. Right, come on. Come on. Here we go. STG-3R Stinger. Overview. The STG-3R Stinger was the second mass-produced Scout and Recon mech to be completed. First designed after Earthworks won the bid against General Mechanics Incorporated, the designers of the WSP-1A Wasp, the Stinger was put into production along with the Wasp because of the great need for light scouts and also because of the similarities in the design of the two mechs. In 2479, the first Stingers came off the assembly line. In the next 4 centuries, nearly 200,000 more units would be constructed. Estimates place the number of operational Stingers currently used by the successor states at about 5,000 or more. Indeed, the mech is still being produced in a number of facilities both in and out of the inner sphere. The Stinger was designed as a scout and reconnaissance mech, although it is also used as a training mech in some MechWarrior academies, replacing the TRC-4B Chameleon. The Stinger is lightly armoured and mounts limited weapons. Its speed and manoeuvrability, however, make it a difficult target and a tough mech to pin down. Wasn't that made by the same artist who did our mechs for the fan project? No. This I know you mean that was you're talking about Matt Blogg was the artist for that. He did a lot of the later TRO stuff, and he's a really good artist. I think he's still working on stuff today. He's working on the new redesigns and that. So, capabilities. If used as its design is intended, the STG-3R Stinger is an efficient and dependable mech. It mounts an Omicron 3000 medium laser in its right arm and 2 LFN Lindblad machine guns on the right and left forearm. Though the Stinger's armour is minimal, it is considered average for light mechs. Its real defensive strength lies in its speed and manoeuvrability. With maximum speed surpassing 90 kph and the powerful jump capability of its Chilton 360 jump jets, the Stinger can get itself out of most tight spots. Overheating is almost never a problem with the Stinger design. The coolant jackets of the Lindblad machine guns effectively block all heat emissions from those weapons, and the heat buildup from the Omicron 3000 medium laser is minor. Even with its jump jets firing continuously, the Stinger rarely develops heat problems. One of the biggest complaints of Stinger pilots is the cramped cockpit space. Many times a pilot must literally squeeze himself into the control seat, and then often cannot get out of it again without help from his tech. Stinger pilots are the reverse of the knights of feudal Earth, who couldn't mount their steeds without help from their squires because of the weight of their armour. Battle history. During a raid on Fallon II by elements of the 7th Cruisers Lancers in 3019, Captain Mercer Ravanian led a unit of 6 Stingers and Wasps in the famous Charge of the Horde during the Battle of Markesan. Attacking the recon lance of the elite McKinnon's raiders, Captain Ravanian's horde of lighter mechs was torn to bits by the heavier enemy units. None of the damaged Stingers or Wasps were recovered, although Ravanian escaped after ejecting from his disabled Wasp. Returning to the Kurita defense area, Ravanian insisted his tactics would work on anybody other than elite mech warriors. After the Battle of Markesan, however, no house were willing to risk more mechs on his theories. Elements of Wolf's Dragoons raided the Davian planet of Donoval II in 3021, and during the raid, a party of cadets of the Meistmore MechWarrior Academy were training on Stingers in a deserted area on the planet, where they were ambushed by a lance of the elite Black Widow Company of Wolf's Dragoons. Almost immediately, the cadets' instructor was put out of action. Meanwhile, the cadets ran for cover, with only the Wasp of the Black Widow Company keeping up. It happened that the first cadet disabled was a woman to whom each of the other cadets was attracted, and though she ejected successfully, the Black Widow Wasp was quickly upon her. As one of the other 4 cadets turned around to engage the Wasp, knocking it out before it could get to the girl, the cadets then picked her up and ran into the wilderness before the heavy enemy mechs could come into range. It's said that the pilot of the Black Widow Wasp nearly died of shame to be taken by a bunch of kids. Variants. Unlike its near sister Wasp, the Stinger has undergone relatively few variations of its career. Some mech warriors have altered their Stingers with the help of their techs, however, dropping items such as the twin machine guns in favour of additional armour and additional medium laser, usually in the left arm. This variation does cause the normal heat problem suffered by many other mechs, but does make the Stinger a more potent scout. Notable mechs and mech warriors. Captain Scope Kinagao. Once well known throughout the Successor States, Kunigao forswore his allegiance to House Kurita by joining the mech regiments of the Magistracy of Canopus beyond the periphery. It said he had fallen in love with the bewitching Magistrix Keala, leader of the Magistracy, and herself a former battle mech leader. Since then, Kunigao and his Stinger, newly renamed the Centrellan Hope after her house name, have become important additions to the Canopan forces. A veteran of nearly 50 engagements in service to Kurita, Scope Kunigao is now in charge of mech warrior scout training in the Magistracy of Canopus. Kiala is rumoured to be negotiating an alliance with House Lao, which would make her a combat in the Succession Wars. That's a screw up. No! It's supposed to be combatant. Fuck. Oh well. Got so close. So close. Mech warrior Bors Slider. A member of House Davian's first Seti Hussars, Bors Slider had the dubious distinction of having had more Stingers shot out from under him than any other mech warrior alive or dead. With a record-breaking total of 9 Stingers either destroyed or disabled with him at the controls, he seems to be one of the luckiest warriors ever to step into battle. Regardless of his past history, though, Bors has no intention of giving up his mech warrior status and always manages to find a new Stinger to replace the one lost. Now piloting the Lots of Luck 12, Bors Slider plans to keep this Stinger longer than his last. As I say, AHL, 200,000 in 400 years, 500 a year, that's a lot of factory space being used if they're producing 1 1/3 each day. Never understood why they cram 200 shots through the machine guns, but... yeah, I guess it was just the rule thing, wasn't it? It's just the ammo, you get, 100... Was it 100 shots per ton, something crazy like that? Or 200 shots per ton, so... Guess it guarantees you're always going to have something to fire. Yeah, that would... God, that'd be a boring tabletop session as well, because you literally got to play that number of rounds of machine gun fire as well, just running and rolling, running and rolling, running and rolling. God, that would suck. Oh, fucking hell. 1 hour. 1 hour of Subnautica 2. So the Stinger, mass 20 ton, chassis Earthworks STG, powerplant GM120, cruise speed 63.4 kph, max speed of 91.6 kph, with jump jets being the Chilton 360 series of a jump distance of 180 metres. Armour is the Riser 100. Armament is a single Omicron 3000 medium laser with 2 LFN Lindblad machine guns, manufactured by Earthworks Incorporated. Communication system is the Datacom 26, and its targeting tracking is the Dynatech 990. So it has a walk of 6, a run of 9, a jump of 6 with 10 single heat sinks. Armour is obviously quite low. It's got 4 on the head, 6 on the CT, 4 on the rear, 6 on the right and left torso with 2 on the rear, 4 on the arms, and 5 on the legs, with the medium laser being located in the right arm. Machine guns across the right and left arms with a single ton of ammo in the CT, and the jump jets spread between the right and left torsos. Yep. Arguably better than the Wasp, just because it can at least fire all of its weapons at short range in a single turn, whereas the Wasp, if you get to the side of it, it can't fire all of its weapons because the leg-mounted SRM. But, yeah. Yep, the ammo originally is in the CT for the Stinger, but To be honest, with how it is the most well-armoured part of the mech at the same time. Anywhere else is instant internal if it's a medium laser. So, you know, it's like realistically, I guess you would... but I don't know if they had the half-ton rule for ammo at this point. But they could have put a half-ton in each arm, probably. And done it that way. And that would have been a bit safer, so then at least if the arm exploded, the ammo exploded, at least you lost the arm, rather than, yeah, the whole mech. But, as I said, I can't remember if the half-ton rule for ammo existed at that point or not. I don't think it did. Though I don't think it was too far off either. Ah, one of Davros's favourites, the Commando. It's a strange little head. The original artwork confused a lot of artists for a long time. They actually thought that this was the head looking for, so they thought this was like an eye. And that was supposed to be a bit of like a face, and it had this kind of strange sort of lopsided hat. And it never occurred to anybody that it was actually the head was turned to the left. And that this is the cockpit. Now, when I saw it, I always thought that was the case, because the body positioning seemed to suggest it was looking to its left. But no, there is actually, in some of the books, there is odd little artwork that make it look like a weird, like, World War I soldier with a little sort of Tommy's helmet cocked to one side. It's really silly. The other stupid thing is that FASA allowed it to look like that for so long. They just obviously just went, yeah, there's artwork for the Commando, yeah. Alright, I'm just going to get myself some more water back in a minute. There we go. That's the good stuff. Oh, that's what we want. Ugh. Right. The Commando 2D. COM-2D Commando. Overview. The Commando, COM-2D, was designed as an alternative to the more numerous Wasps and Stingers as a reconnaissance mech. While not jump capable, the Commando has far stronger weapons than either of the more famous scout mechs. Conceived by engineers at Coventry Defence during the last days of the Protectorate of Donegal, the first prototype Commando was tested in 2463 and carried a large laser on the right arm. Because the sudden heat generated by the laser was breaking down the lubricants in the mech's wrist and hand, the weapon was later replaced with an SRM-4 rack. The Commando was commissioned by the Protectorate of Donegal in 2466, then adopted by the entire Lyran Commonwealth after the Protectorate became part of it. Though Star League did make many attempts to draft the Commando model into its own forces, the Commonwealth managed, through clever stalling and subtle lying, to keep the design to themselves, and that's proven to be a prudent move on the part of the Commonwealth. Capabilities. Despite the lightness of its armour, the Commando's 10 SRMs allow the mech to fulfill a secondary role as an emergency barrage vehicle. Though it's unusual to combine two missile systems in one mech, it does prevent a lucky hit from an enemy knocking out all of the tubes, thus rendering the Commando ineffective. The idea works well. The Commando can lay down a heavy pattern of missile fire directed at a single target, or split his fire and shoot at two separate targets. This design feature also has drawbacks. The two different missile systems require two different command systems. The medium laser requires a third command system, all of which requires a much larger computer than originally planned. This is one of the reasons that the Commando's weight went up from the original 20 to 25 tons. Despite the difficulties, the various Lyran mech plants, especially the one at Coventry, were producing many Commandos annually. The Commando keeps a good supply of ammo for its missile systems, carrying 25 rounds for its right arm launchers and its right torso, and carrying 15 rounds in its left tube for the chest launcher. Just because the Commando packs firepower comparable to some heavier mechs does not mean it can go toe-to-toe with them. Indeed, because of the Commando's thin armour, pilots must take special care to avoid exposure to enemy fire. The mech warrior may instead use the Commando's firepower to let loose with a barrage at a heavier mech and then run. He has to hope that the enemy will be too busy dealing with the damage suffered by his mech to follow too closely. With its two articulated hands, the Commando can also pick up and carry its share of cargo. It can also brawl, with a slight edge against light to medium mechs that have no hands, such as Locusts or Oscouts. If 25 tons of moving metal can ever be called stealthy, it is that for which the Commando has been designed. Commandos are often dispatched alone or in pairs, assigned either to scout ahead for the enemy or as the eyes of the retreat, gauging the proximity of pursuers. The mech excels at both. Battle history. Unlike other successor states, the Lyran Commonwealth awards special commendations to scouts who perform beyond the call of duty. In the lengthy dedications of these commendations are many stories of commandos on the field. One impressive account tells of Lewin and Simph Tulmani, a brother and sister scout team in what was once Winfield's Guards. In 3011, the unit was 2 regiments strong and stationed on Severin. Poor intelligence reports suckered them into believing that the thrust of Kurita's attack would bypass them. Many mechs, including Lewin and Sims, were trapped in a mountain pass when they were attacked and mowed down by bombardment. Upon regaining consciousness, the Tulmanis found their mechs damaged and themselves hurt and alone. Lewin's mech was minus its left arm, and Simph was riding a headless machine. Looking east, they could see that the capital city, their original destination, was burning. They decided to travel west toward a more distant and perhaps still intact city to link up with reinforcements or any other stragglers. Travelling by night to avoid the numerous Curitan patrols, at last they arrived at a city still held by the Lyran Commonwealth. They arrived just in time to see dropships of the 2nd Donegal Guards landing and mustering for a counterattack. Unfortunately, very few of the arriving officers were familiar with the surrounding countryside, and so Simph and Lewin immediately volunteered their services. With very little repair to either themselves or their mechs, the two scouted the advance of the 2nd Donegal Guards. Since that time, the scouts of Winfield's brigade wear on their lapels the green tartan stripe of the Donegal Guards in honour of the Tulmani's courage. Variants. Being such an old design, the Commando has seen many variants. Some attempts, such as reviving the use of the large laser on the right arm or using an autocannon, have led to mixed results. Only one variant is taken seriously by Lyran Commonwealth commanders. Designated the 3A, the mech carries a 6-tube missile system on its right hand and a flamer added to its right arm. Extensive testing of the variant has been done of late, raising the possibility that current commandos might be refitted. Notable mechs and mech warriors. Captain Bono Dugan-Mer. Commander of a company in the 22nd Sky Rangers, Dugan-Mer has the unenviable task of training inexperienced warriors. Quiet yet demanding, in his silver commando, the Death's Knell, the captain moves about the training field, cajoling his men to work harder. If that approach doesn't produce results, he resorts to a trainee mech's backside instead. Though concerned about his men's welfare in battle, Dugan-Mer knows enough to let them do their jobs with great tactical expertise. Not a flashy hero with many kills to his name, he nevertheless has earned the respect of both his men and his superiors, who treat him like a valuable resource. Some recent rumours suggest that he will head up the first Commonwealth Military Academy on Tharkad. And mech warrior Seychelle Miladieu. A member of the 14th Lyran Guard, Seychelle was born and raised near the sea of her home planet, which gives her a special understanding of the possibilities of using water as a cover for her mech. She submerges her sea-green mech as though water were its natural home. This often allows her to obtain enemy information that her less aquatic fellow scouts might miss. Hey, what's this stem on? I'm laughing more than I should that the commando needs more lube in its hands. Oh god, yeah. Well, the hand joint gets squeaky when the large laser fires. It overheats the lube. And it dries out the lube. Did that count as a perfect read? Did I get that? I don't think I made any clear errors. And as part of your question, Yobbo, 1 hour. Look there in the top right. Fucking 1 hour. Load of shit. I think that was a perfect read, though, right? I don't think I did any screw-ups. No one seemed to call me out on that one, so that's a perfect read 1. Just that, you think 30 minutes just to be safe? Nah, motherfucker. Nah, that's not happening. Right, so well, it read better as rather than saying battlefield. It's on the field. I think on the field is a better way of doing it than battlefield, isn't it? It breaks flow. If you get 10 hours, I'll take you scuba swimming off Chesil Beach. Why? Why would you do that to me? It's already bad enough. 10 hours, Christ. Oh, that would be terrible. Mass, 25 ton chassis, Coventry Metalworks power plant is an Omen 150. I'm assuming that's supposed to actually say Omni 150, but cruise speed of 64.8 kph, max speed of 97.2 kph, no jump capacity. Its armour is the Lexington Limited. It has a Shannon 6-shooter missile pack, a Coventry 4-tube missile system, and a Hesperus B3 medium laser. Manufactured by Coventry Defence Conglomerate, its communication system is the Tharhees Crystal Flower RG2, and its targeting and tracking is the Tharhees Star Shark. Can I appeal for less time if I claim to be allergic to water? They won't allow me, Jacob. They won't allow me. They're all evil. The man is the ringleader of these people. Oh, good. Oh, you'll get your copy off the shelf there. You go. Very good. Very good. So the Commando is 6 and 9, obviously no jump, 10 single heat sinks, which I think is pretty much the common factor for most of the mechs in this book. It has 6 armor on the head, 8 on the CT with 4 on the rear, 6 on each side torso with 3 on the rear, has 6 on the arms and 8 on the legs. The SRM6 is located in the CT with 15 shots of ammo in the left torso, and then the SRM4 is in the right arm with 25 shots of SRM4 ammo in the right torso, and the medium laser located in the left arm. I think you have the same PDF I do. Shame I have to go at the same time here. Yeah, no worries, Ishla. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there are any other PDFs of this knocking around. Also, this is the one that doesn't have the aerospace, unfortunately, or the tanks. But I don't think there'll be enough time for me to get to them all. We're already at 22:11. We're only up to the Javelin. I'm not in need of playing Subnautica to the tune of many hours. That is not happening. The fact that I'm doing this, I've got this, still getting over this frigging cough. I want to actually feel better. I've got so much stuff to do. It sucks. I've got to get a new video sorted for today as well for release. So straight after this, I've got to get all the stuff put together for that. Shoot that over to the editing system, and then I've got to phone the RSPCA about 2 little cats we want to adopt as well. So hopefully I'll be able to do that. After we lost Little Hibble, it's just not been the same, to be honest. So hopefully I'll have good news on that one. Oh, you think no man? Everyone would be happy to chip in, and I could go on a nice mini sub trip. Is that? Oh, fucking hell. There's enough of you sick evil bastards. That probably would happen as well. Alright, JVN-10N Javelin. Overview. Oh, god damn, my throat just got caught. Oh, come on. The JVN-10N Javelin is one of the newer recon vehicles used by the armies of the successor states. First produced in 2751, the light mech still hadn't been entirely integrated into many mech regiments by the beginning of the First Succession War in 2786. Because of this, many combatants were caught off guard when it appeared on the battlefield. House Davian took a particular interest in the Javelin's development, introducing them into many recon lances. Today, after centuries of succession wars, the Javelin has come to be known as a reliable scout mech. The Javelin's main function is reconnaissance, though it is also used extensively in ambushes in that regard. The term sneaky as a Javelin has become widespread among mech warriors throughout the Inner Sphere. What's this? You're a YouTuber, damn. Yeah, I know. I recently learned of this, whether it's a condition. I had to go to the doctor to find out. You can take me swimming off Portland Cove, end of Chesil, so I can go visit a few of the wrecks. Oh, brilliant. That's even more terrifying. Wow, a landing craft World War II. I own a giant ammonite fossil that weighs several tons. Fucking hell. I do not want to see a giant underwater fossil. It could stay down there. Capabilities. The Javelin is fast and maneuverable. Its Rawlings 95 jump jets providing it with enough thrust to leap as high as 180 meters at a single time. With these movement capabilities, the Javelin can avoid having to engage heavier mechs. The Javelin has several disadvantages common to the design of a recon mech. For example, as its armament is designed only for short and medium ranges, a Javelin pilot cannot reply to long-range fire, and so must try to avoid being caught by it. The mech's 2 racks of Arrow-light SRMs are devastating at short range, however. Having come unexpectedly under concentrated missile fire from a lance of Javelins, many light and medium enemy mechs have paid a heavy price for poor scouting. With its ample missile ammunition supply, the Javelin does not run out of ammo as quickly as other mechs, making it useful in rearguard or holding actions. Once its missiles are spent, however, commanders usually try to pull the Javelin out of action because its light armor makes it a poor hand-to-hand fighter. The Javelin design has one other, less known problem. With its torso-mounted missile racks and ammunition supply, the mech's centre of gravity is too far forward when it is at full load displacement, and this tends to make the machine somewhat top-heavy and prone to falls while moving at high speeds in difficult terrain. Treat this as a +1 die roll for modifiers for falling when the Javelin is running through woods, rough terrain, or rubble. One of the few times, in fact, maybe the only time, I think that a rule thing is mentioned, by the way, in any of the TRO write-ups like this. Battle history. During the bloody Battle of Kentaris 4 in March of 2796, Bunk's recon lance of Rail's battalion, Davian's 2nd Crucis Lancers, awaited the arrival of Curitan forces, with orders to send immediate warning of their approach. As the enemy advanced, the 3 javelins and 1 wasp of Bunk's lance signalled to the Davian HQ, and then waited in covered positions. After the enemy had passed by, Bunk's lance rose up and bombarded the rear units of the Curitan mechs, destroying a Phoenix Hawk and heavily damaging 2 others. Bunk's lance then jumped out of position, pursued by more than a company of the enemy. Using leapfrogging tactics, the javelins kept up an harassing missile fire barrage until they were in support range of heavier friendly units. Javelins also played a major role in the famous Battle of Waterhole No. 9 during the Second Battle of Silene II in December 3002. In that battle, the recon lancers of House Davian's 4th Deneb Light Cavalry were hidden in a moderately sized recreational lake known as Waterhole No. 9. Composed mostly of javelins, these recon lancers were put in standby mode while they waited under 30 metres of water for the rest of the Davian forces to pull back from the advancing Curitan army. With their heat signatures hidden by the deep water, the Davian recon lancers went undetected until the heavy mechs of Curita's assault regiments entered the lake to begin attacking the Davian defence line, some 400 metres away. Suddenly, Curita mechs started collapsing into the water amid huge explosions as the javelin's missiles hit them at point-blank range. At the same moment, the Davian land forces counterattacked, routing the enemy, who took many losses. Shortly after this encounter, Curitan forces evacuated Silene II. Variants. One javelin has gained some acceptance in the successor states, known as the Fire Javelin. It has 2 diverse optics Type 20 medium lasers in place of the SRM racks. The extra tonnage saved by dropping heavy missile launchers enables the Fire Javelin to mount more armour of a medium mech of its light chassis, usually upgraded to a Duralite 446 variant. This mech's only disadvantage is the heat build-up that occurs if the pilot attempts to fire the Javelin's jump jets at the same time as they're firing their medium lasers. This one might be a bit difficult because of the unfortunate sort of washing out with some of the text on the side, but I'll try my best. Sorry, what's this? I don't need it in my life to conquer the fear. You have a copy of that version with the LAM structures and vehicles on PDF. Not sure if Google Drive link will work here, though. No, it's okay. I mean, I've got 2 copies of the physical book, so I mean, if I did get to that point, I'd have to go fetch that and continue from there. It cannot reply to long-range fire. Man, imagine being left on read by a javelin. Left on red, yeah. The rifle and Jaeger bin of those, possibly the Hatchman as well. What's all number now? That's like a more shit version of Mambo number 5. No, I am going to read this copy. I'll go to attempt it anyway. Notable mechs and mech warriors. Lieutenant Wildman Bill Wilkes, commander of Wilkes' recon lance of... fucking... I don't know. Something battalion, 4th Deneb Light Cavalry. Wildman Bill insists on being called as cheated death numerous times during the famous ambushes that he leads in his javelin named the Hi There. Although grudgingly admired because of his successful battle tactics, mech warriors also dislike Wilkes for being a swaggering egotist. Davian mech warriors nevertheless compete to join his recon lance because they know that if there's any action around, Wildman Bill will find it. Oh, it was McIntyre's battalion. How the fuck was I going to read that as McIntyre's battalion? Jesus Christ. I suppose I got the rest of it. Hey, when there's a company called Yellow Submarine Adventures operating out of the Cayman Islands. Adult costs are about 160 US. And so we go to ship in. No. Bad, Erwin. Bad. Alright, see you, Isla. Have a good day. Mech warrior Sir Androck Meister of New Sharon. Meister is an unusual mech warrior to be sitting in the control chair of a Javelin. Born into the house something hierarchy, he forced himself into the 2nd Battalion of Winfield's Brigade, choosing recon work as his specialty since his acceptance. He's proven himself to be an excellent mech pilot and scout, with 3 kills. Really? Oh, it was part of the House Steiner hierarchy. Fucking okay. Proven himself an excellent pilot and scout, with 3 kills to his credit. There is talk that he will soon be promoted to the head of his own recon lance in Winfield's Brigade. There you go. That's okay. But no, I couldn't get the words of that one, so yeah, we're up to an hour and 15. Only 3 trips? Fuck. No. The book isn't rendered properly. Easy compromise. We'll set you up with a boat tour of the Albert Dock down the road then. That'd be horrible. You can't see the bottom. It's just black water. And don't say, "Oh, Rocket's been racist because it's black water. It was white water." I know what you're like, man. I know what you're like. Dirty little Egberth. Fuck it. Right, fine. Because that one's tough. Fine. Look, there you go. Hour and 30. Hour and a half. A fucking Subnautica 2 when that comes out. Jesus, I hope that's the slowest development of any game of all time. Right. So, Javelin's mass, 30 tons. Chassis is Duralite 246. Power plant is the GM180. Its cruise speed is 67.3 kph. Its max speed is 95.9 kph, with its jump jets being the Rawlings 95, with a jump distance 180 meters. Its armor is Starguard 1, with 2 Arrowlight SRM6 racks. It's manufactured by Stormbanger Assemblies, Light Division. Communication system is Garrett T10B. Its targeting and tracking system is the Dynatech 128C. It has a movement of 696 with 10 single heat sinks, 6 armor on the head, 8 on the CT with 2 on the rear, 8 on the left and right torso with 2 on the rear, and then 6 on the arms and 8 on the legs. SRM6 is located equally between the right and left torso, with ammo also in the same side torso, 15 shots each, and the jump jet split between the center torso and the legs. At least I didn't call it African water. What do you mean African water this time? I've never referred to it. Right, just to get the clarification. I've never referred to water ever as African water. If it's dark, ignore him. Ignore the man. He is an evil man. He's got his shit stirring spoon. He's had it etched. It gets a little dark rune on it every time he causes trouble. That spoon is evil. He's like some kind of fucking warlock or something with that thing. You gotta be careful of it. He's evil, naughty man. The Spooder. Everyone's favourite. In as much as it's nobody's favourite. I don't think anyone's a fan of the spider. The SDR-5V Spider. Overview. The SDR-5V Spider is the crowning triumph of Newhart Interstellar Industries' long history of armament manufacture. Though the firm produced mostly aerospace fighters, the Spider was their first and only entry into the battle mech market. In 2650, Star League requisitioned a special mech for its elite commando forces. Newhart responded so quickly that most of the other mech manufacturing firms were left sitting in the dust. Newhart had in fact already designed the SDR series, with more than met the minimum standards for a lightweight recon and attack mech. They also were ready for production, and so Star League awarded them the contract. The Spider got its name from the fact that the frontal armor alignment resembles a spiderweb pattern. The seams between the armor plates are filled with a fiberglass sealant that's bright red, making the pattern stand out even more. Hey from. Capabilities. The SDR-5V was conceived as a fast-moving mech with ample firepower and the ability to operate for an extended period of time without support. To fulfill the latter requirement, very reliable parts were used on the Spider, which keeps maintenance cycles to a minimum. The mech's firepower consists of 2 center torso-mounted Aberdovi Mark III medium lasers, and though more expensive than the more common Martel model, they're considered the top quality available. Jump capacity set this mech above and beyond modified versions of the Locust and other recon mechs. The jump jet system was designed to make standard leaps as well as to vary the leap by pivoting the jets in flight. Such actions tended to play havoc with even the more sophisticated targeting systems. The Spider's only real design flaw is that its particular configuration of armor and sensors leave no room for installation of a pilot escape system. Thus, in case of emergency, the Spider pilot must make his way manually to the lower hatch to exit the mech. Oh, fucking hell. Battle history. Very few SDR-5V Spiders were left in the successor states after the fall of the Star League. When House Marek discovered a supply bunker with several functional Spiders on the planet Keystone in their sphere, they quickly absorbed the mechs into their forces. In the battle for Stike within Davian space in 2934, units from Marek's militia attacked units of Davian's Deneb Light Cavalry's old 7th Regiment. While defending the ruins of the city of Devonshire, the Deneb's Light Cavalry found itself under attack by the militia force's several Spiders. Using a series of close combat attacks, such as jumping, the Spiders cut through Davian's outer defences, making it possible for Marek troops to take the city for several hours, looting it for supplies. Hey Frank, how you doing? In 2970, House Steiner made use of several Spiders in a fast raid on the Kurita-held world of Labion. As part of the 12 Star Guards, the Spiders moved in on the rear area of a Kurita supply dump. As they hit one area, the other raiders struck in force from another location. This tactic would allow Steiner to cut down the spread-out Kuritan troops, which could not rally in time to stop their attackers from taking the supplies to their waiting dropships. House Davian was desperate to gain control of several Spiders to supplement their own forces, as they had to scrap theirs for parts during the First Succession War. In 3000, House Davian's elite First Guard staged a commando-style raid on a mech repair facility on the House Marek world of Cyrus. Far from their own territory, the attacking forces dropped just outside of the facility and took what they came for, 5 Spiders that had been brought in for research and preventative maintenance. Despite heavy losses, and given my Marek's support, the Guards took few losses and succeeded in getting Spider mechs that they'd come for. Another military unit reported to have possession of Spiders is the equally elite Wolf's Dragoons. Reports from various battlefields state that the Dragoons make use of an entire lance of Spiders, though these reports are not easily confirmed. Variants. 2 experimental versions of the SDR-5V have been discovered within the successor states. One version supports only a single Abadovi medium laser and 2 Arkham flamers mounted on each of the arms. This version is used primarily in Davian-controlled space. The other version, which is used mainly by House Kuritan troops, also has a medium laser and 2 machine gun systems mounted in the arms. It's designed primarily as an anti-infantry attack mech. No head ejection system. Yeah, that's one. I also know, there was a bit of a screw up earlier, so we're up to hour 45 now. Notable mechs and mech warriors. Mech warrior Abadovis in Wales, yes. Mech warrior Jeremy L. Lewis. As a member of the Advanced Recon Lance of Wolf's Dragoons, Lewis is one of the few pilots honoured to pilot a Spider. He comes from the ranks of the Dispossessed and has never discussed his past with anyone but his commanding officer, Jamie Wolfe, assigned him the mech for personal reasons, and thus far is pleased with that decision. Mech warrior Rhoda Stilston. At present, Rhoda is assigned to the Draconis March Militia in command of a strike lance. Her unmodified Spider is painted a bright red to make it stand out. Coming from a long and distinguished line of mech warriors, she shows neither mercy nor remorse on the battlefield. Mech warrior Andrew J. Silverstein II. No one knows what Andrew did before being employed by the mercenary unit known as Narhal's Raiders. He's never told anyone where he got his mech or his training, and none of the official records show him to have been attached to any successor house. Silverstein's Spider is battered, and at times he has difficulty with his targeting system, and though his superiors see his potential, they also consider him too reckless with his life, his mech, and the lives of those around him. He's a criminal. He's a criminal, he is. He's under an assumed identity. The Spider. 30-ton chassis Newhart 1200. Its power plant is the Pitman 240. Its cruise speed is 86.4 kph and its max speed is 130 kph. Jump jets are the Pitman LFT-10. Jump capacity of 240 meters. Its armor is Duralex Light. Its armament is 2 Abadovi Mark III medium lasers. Main manufacturer is Newhart Interstellar Industries Limited, and its communication system is the OP-500A. Targeting and tracking is the OP-TA-1240. Has a walk of 8, run of 12, and a jump of 8, with 10 single heat sinks, as they always have. Has 6 armour on the head, 8 on the CT with 4 on the rear, 6 on the side torsos with 2 on the rear, 5 on the arms, and 6 on the legs. Obviously, another very spindly little unit. The 2 medium lasers are located in the CT, and the jump jets are located in the side torsos. Simple but effective. Even though the scale of this mech does suggest it's actually quite small as well, so another reason why it'd probably be quite good at being able to infiltrate. And also interesting that obviously it just has the one single visual mount for the laser in the CT rather than having like a pair of barrels. Kind of works though with the single. It would look, I suppose, it would look a bit weird if it had the two barrels pointing out there, but yeah, it's a decent piece of artwork for it, to be honest, for what it is. Almost impossible to hit on tabletop. Unless I run it. As is Frank, one of the few mechs that could be fielded in its 3025 variants in any era. About the only variant I would field otherwise is the 9M. Oh, right. Okay. No, it's the meme. The urban mech is here. It's a weird looking feet arrangement on the urban mech. Obviously, I'm so used to seeing the MWO version now for years, with some more reasonable rounded kind of feet. But yeah, the original Urbi is a weird looking design, but it's also kind of perfect for what it was, designed for. So, but yes, the UMR60 urban mech overview. Was this? Can't be Wales, not enough L's in the name. That's true, Goober. That's true. Yeah, I don't diss the Urbi for it. I don't diss the Urbi at all. What I do diss is just how it ended up becoming like almost like a kind of meme mascot pet like thing. I don't know. Yeah, many of the mechs do have the big wide spade feet. That's why I kind of like the spiders, sort of like dual claw feet. Kind of cool. But yeah, overview. Called upon to produce an effective light mech for city fighting, August Industries replied with the urban mech. Cheap to produce but potent in its assigned duties, the mech was manufactured in large numbers, many of which have survived into the present era. Now common in city garrisons and defence units, the urban mech continues as an effective battle weapon. Capabilities. At 30 tons, the urban mech is only slightly heavier than Wasp and Stinger scout mechs, and so its slow speed seemed a distinct liability. It was designed for city combat, however, an environment that severely limits most other mechs. The mech's Duralex heavy armour provides considerable protection, and its low, stocky profile makes it a difficult target. On some models, August Industries followed an unorthodox armless design. While this further streamlined the machine's profile, it handicapped the urban mech in other ways. The mech was obviously unable to defend itself in hand-to-hand combat, and damage what would normally have struck the mech's arms, now being transferred directly to the torso. Thus, armless urban mechs were usually deployed where the likelihood of meeting enemy mechs was small. The Imperator B Class 10 autocannon is the urban mech's primary weapon. With its low heat build-up and reliable design, the weapon suited the urban mech's hit-and-run style of fighting. The light laser that supports the Imperator is only marginally effective, but is useful in persuading hostile troops to keep their heads down. Battle history. The urban mech was used by the Star League to suppress urban guerrillas and hostile light mechs in heavily populated areas. With its comparatively heavy armour, the mech could withstand combat with others of similar or higher tonnage. Though not intended to engage in slugging matches with the likes of Marauders or Crusaders, the urban mech often found itself up against such vastly superior opponents in the thick of city fighting. Standard tactics consisted of a lance splitting up into individual units that used buildings as cover for sniping at enemy vehicles, and then the units would fall back to regroup along the next defensive line. Though the UM's low speed would handicap it, the confining spaces of Star League cities also reduced the mobility of heavier machines. On the other hand, the mech's low profile helped protect it from enemy fire. Urban mechs were, in fact, among the last defenders of the Star League, fighting for control of vital urban centres as civil authority collapsed around them. Many were destroyed in the carnage, which is why the mech is rarely seen outside of Lao space. In the present era, House Lao maintains a relatively larger number of urban mechs, deploying them in the fortified cities along its frontiers, where they've encountered both Davian and Marek forces. During a recent border clash, several regiments of the Marek's Regulan Hussars were sent on parts raids against Lao storehouses on Carver 4, and there the city of Fort Lyons held a sizable stock of mech components, defended by the urban defence regiments of the Chesterton Reserves, including several urban mechs. Commanding Fort Lyons' defence, Colonel Teresa Key deployed her urban mechs as the city's first line of defence. The UMs confronted a Marek Marauder company as it moved into the city. Supported by smaller armoured vehicles and infantry, the Lao urban mechs used classic tactics, engaging the marauders with pop-up fire and vanishing amongst the buildings. The Marak marauders wound up with major fights on their hands, and the assault bogged down as they stopped to engage the Lao defenders. The Marak attackers eventually pushed the Lao forces back, but sustained losses that greatly lessened their effectiveness. And when Lao reserves did finally arrive, the Marak marauders were forced to withdraw, with only a fraction of the booty that they'd anticipated. Another recent example illustrates the urban mech's weaknesses. When a bandit raid on Angel 2 caught Marak defenders by surprise, Garrison Commander Major Alan Roberts was forced to deploy the Marak militia's urban mechs in open country to stave off the bandit attacks. Although the Marak pilots fought bravely, the bandit mechs blasted them to pieces with concentrated long-range missile fire. Roberts took a severe reprimand for this misuse of his urban mechs, but he didn't have many other options as commander of an urban defence unit, lacking heavy support. The defence may have been doomed to failure, but Colonel Roberts was able to buy enough time so civilians and key officials were able to escape before the bandits could take them. The urban mech is at its best then when battling infantry and armour in the heart of a city. In another recent encounter, Davian forces made effective use of an urban mech lance to destroy a Kurita commando/terrorist squad. Variants. As noted above, the major variant of the urban mech is the armless variant. The disadvantages of this design proved fatal, and so very few have survived to the present. House Lao has a few urban mechs with Imperator Zeta Class 20 autocannons, but the weapon's heat and mass have kept the mech from gaining any great popularity. Notable mechs and mech warriors. Mech warrior Gordon Stewart. The Chesterton Reserves are often called upon to defend the vulnerable border, and few have seen more intense city combat than the mech warrior Stewart. He has twice refused promotion in favour of remaining with his urban defence lance and his battered but serviceable urban mech known as the Gallant. Although a loyal Lao soldier, Colonel Stewart has made no secret of his contempt for his Lao allies, House Kurita. Consequently, Stewart has been assigned to hotspots along the Marak border, where his superiors secretly hope he'll meet an unfortunate end. Stewart, however, continues to win fame, and those who fight alongside him echo his anti-Kurita sentiment. And Lieutenant Patricia Wellesley. This able officer commands an urban defence lance of Kurita St. Ives Armoured Cavalry. Although considered by many to be something of an eccentric, she collects teapots with passionate enthusiasm and tends toward bizarre reading habits. Her command of Wellesley's lance has been flawless, and her actions in defence of New Colas on Lapida 2 against the Davianist raiding party have been used as examples of textbook tactics at Kuritist military schools and academies. As with many mech warriors, Wellesley's quirks are tolerated, even encouraged by superiors eager to find a competent commander. Interesting location. Kurita's St. Ives Armoured Cavalry. That's an interesting probable mess up there, I'm assuming, by the writers. I don't ever remember any case where Kurita owned St. Ives, but there we go. Sorry with the chat. Let's see. Works like the German roadblock guard in all war movies. It has to turn around. Says, hey Theobus, how you doing? Love the old tech readouts. Can't recall off the top what the earliest one was. 2750, yeah. Was the original, or technically, canonically the oldest, but is the second technical read. No, fourth technical readout, I think, printed was 2750, because you had 3025, 3026, and then you had dropships and jump ships, which is basically a technical readout. And then, yeah, then you had 2750. Is there a recent TRO that comes in book form? They did do technical readout 3145, something like that, I think, was the most recent. St. Ives is down on the Davian Lao border, because that's where you have the St. Ives Compact. They get formed for a blink and you miss it about time. It might be about 6 or 7 years before they get wiped out. Do I know the most recent? Not off the top of my head, Jacob, no. Yeah, because Technical Readout 3050 was the clan invasion Technical Readout, so that would have been early to mid-90s. Technical Readout 2750, I believe, was when they first introduced some of the Star League era tech. That's where you had like Ultra 5s and pulse lasers and stuff like that, because it was that gradual rule increase in allowing you to play the sort of Star League era stuff if you wanted to. But I think that can't. That's second perfect read. Yay! So the UrbanMech is a 30-tonner. Again, its chassis is the Republic R. Its power plant is the Lean X60. Its cruise speed of 21.6 kph and max speed of 32.4 kph. Its jump jets are the Pitband 6000 with a jump capacity of 60 meters. Its armor is Duralex Medium. And its armament is a single Imperator B autocannon and a Harman light laser. Manufactured by August Industries, and its communication system is the Dalban Interact. Its targeting tracking system is the Dalban Urban. That translates to a 232 movement with 11 single heat sinks. Ooh. It has 9 armor on the head, 11 on the C2 with 8 on the rear, 8 on the side torsos, 4 on the rear, 10 on the arms, and 12 on the legs. So not too bad armor-wise for its tonnage, to be honest. Yes, the Ill Clan era, yes. Yeah, 2750 came out in 1989, 3050 was printed in 1990. Yeah, there you go. Because I knew they'd released the Star League tech stuff with those rules, because that was to allow people to basically get used to some of them for when the clan tech turned up, because obviously a load of the new, all the old variants had come back and stuff like that, so. Yep, let's look at all those angles. Oh, so many angles. Don't know what's going on the back here. I think it's part of the leg assembly. It might be part of the, or both leg assemblies just kind of intersecting. Not a bad original art, to be honest. I don't think there was a lot really to improve on it when they came to a sort of redesign. So yeah, it was always a good-looking mech for what it was designed for. A mech that, it doesn't really get a lot of looking on games. I'm genuinely surprised that it never got a MechWarrior Online release, the Valkyrie, but it also looks like it's standing on its tiptoes. VLK-QA, a Valkyrie. Overview. The Valkyrie is a mech design unique to the Federated Suns. Although commissioned by the League's regular army, it didn't enter production until 2787, after the start of the First Succession War. Because the Korean facilities were all within the Federated Suns, all Valkyries produced became the exclusive property of House Davian. Despite the chaos of the Succession Wars, the Korean plants on New Avalon are still functional, a large industrial complex still capable of manufacturing around 130 Valkyries a year. The continued operation of Korean enterprises depends upon several other key industries. Components such as fusion reactors and sensor helmets are still produced by completely automated plants using technology that is no longer understood. These old and worn plants often break down, which means the day may come when it no longer is possible to repair malfunctioning equipment. When the supply of ultra-high technological parts needed by each plant runs out, Korean enterprises will be forced to end production. Future concerns aside, the Valkyrie has become an important part of Davian forces. It generally replaces the lighter Stingers and Wasps in the Federated Suns' crack combat regiments, giving their units improved firepower. Because the VLK carries twice the armor of either a Wasp or a Stinger, it can last longer under fire. Capabilities. The Valkyrie is a highly regarded light mech. Its 6 ton of armor, top speed of 86.4 kph, and 150 meter jump capacity allow it to outmaneuver heavier units on the field, and to absorb a fair amount of damage. At the same time, the VLK's 11 heat sinks allow a high rate of activity without overheating. Its relatively flat potential damage curve illustrates that it's equally at ease fighting at extended range or at close quarters. The Devastator LRM system is an unusual but welcome addition to a light mech. Though it carries only 12 reloads, the LRM-10 makes the Valkyrie a potent... I read potent. It's potentially tough opponent. Damn it. You know what? I was so fucking relaxed. I was so comfortable with that. And I got fucked right there. Just right fucking there. That potent. And my brain went potent. And then saw tough. That's not going to work. Potent, tough opponent. Potent, tough opponent. That wouldn't work, would it? That wouldn't fix it. Fuck. Damn it. 2 hours now. Potentially tough opponent even at long range. At close range, the combination of medium laser and jump capacity makes the Valkyrie just as dangerous. Although it is no match for a medium or heavy mech by itself, as part of a lance, the Valkyrie is effective. More than one mech warrior has suddenly found to his horror that he has a Valkyrie behind him and the rest of the lance in front. The Valkyrie's 11 heatsinks allow it to jump as often and as far as desired without decreasing its rate of fire, and this has given the mech a reputation for tenacity. It's been said that once a Valkyrie attacks, it stays with you until it either drops or you do. As experienced pilots are more likely than most other mech warriors to be assigned to a new Valkyrie, this reputation may well be earned. Because the light mech is so well armoured, it's often assigned to scout missions. There is also much less likely to fall victim to scout hunters, such as the Scorpion. In fact, the Valkyrie's LRM-10 can inflict respectable damage on hunter units who lack long-range weaponry. To date, the Valkyrie hasn't developed any chronic maintenance problems, although there have been instances of shorts in the leg actuators and a number of bugs in the sync tracking systems, and these have been rectified. Despite these difficulties, the Valkyrie has become an important part of Davian military machine, and it's now found in virtually every regular regiment of the Federated Sons. Battle history. The Valkyrie has made its greatest contribution as a lance member. It often supports the lance leader in an attack on a much heavier opponent, and in such operations many Stingers and Wasps have been crippled before they could make any contribution on the field. The Valkyrie is not an easy kill, even for a heavy mech. In the first battle of Galtor, elements of Davian's Sirtis Fusiliers held the planet despite an intense 3-month offensive by Kirita's Proserpina Hussars. The battle was significant because the Sirtis Fusiliers had recently replaced all mechs in its light units and fire lancers with Valkyries. Although badly outnumbered, the defenders managed to stem the invasion and push the attackers back. Much of the operation's success was credited to the low attrition rate of light mechs, which allowed lance structures to remain intact throughout the defensive operation. On Dobson, where House Davian and Kurita clashed less than a year later, Valkyrie scouts managed to pinpoint the location of the attacker's major supply deposit. Spotted while leaving the area, the Valkyries were forced to fight their way back through enemy lines. Although the mechs were barely operational when they returned to friendly soil, the fact that they survived at all is a testament to the durability of the Valkyrie. During the Siege of Sarna, Valkyries were used successfully as scout hunters, their long-range missiles allowing them to cripple their opponents from a safe distance before moving in for the kill. Not one Valkyrie was lost in these operations. Variants. At present, there are few variants of the basic Valkyrie. The only other common version uses a flamer in place of the medium laser. This model is not intended for combat, but as an incendiary mech. Notable mechs and mech warriors. Mech warrior Karl Kruger. Kruger earned his reputation as a first-class scout on Dobson, where he participated in a deep penetration scout mission behind enemy lines. Since then, he's been assigned a number of near-impossible missions and successfully completed each. Although he has lost 3 Valkyries in his last dozen missions, his superiors recognise he's too valuable to be left without a mech. Mech warrior Anne Simpson. This pilot is fanatically loyal to House Davian. Once a member of the Dispossessed, Simpson was given a mech in recognition of 20 years' service as a tech. She spends much time keeping her Valkyrie, the Victory, in mint condition. Simpson vows that she will never again be without a mech. Yep, Dungerously, a full 2-hour stream under the sea. I know, it's very sad. Fucking hell. Oh yeah, I don't blame you for hating the Dark Age stuff, Frank. Oh, that's terrible. Terrible, terrible stuff. They all lived happily ever after Bulldog and Serpent. Yeah, just slightly rewrite events. Dark Age doesn't happen, but you still have the rising of Blake. But I'd personally have it that the schism happens, the Wob they take Terra and they grab all of the systems around that. New agreements are made about the use of the HPG system. Everything seems relatively stable, but there's tension as the Great Houses kind of watch, as a sort of more and more of this kind of sort of fanatical rhetoric starts to come out, and eventually you have it where they basically make like massive terrorist attacks along all the borders or within different space. And because they control the network, they basically black out areas before they attack, making it more difficult for the great houses to coordinate properly. But eventually that leads to a situation where you have like the Innisphere-based clans and the Innisphere coming together, and they fight against these crazy jihadists, battling their way all the way back to Earth. They reconquer it. Comstar are restored, put back in control of the HPG network. The clans, as part of the reward of it, they get a post on a new Star League, and you sort of reset everything back to a kind of a tense kind of nature. There's a new, so you can have like a new Lord of the Star League who's a clanner, so you can still do the kind of ill clan type idea. And they now sit within a section of space that's peaceful for now, but could just as easily, erupt again into full scale warfare. I think that would have been a much better time. And that would have worked a lot better than the Dark Age stuff, where they just destroy the HPG network and all that crap. It was just really stupid. I don't mind the new setting by the looks of it. That it's kind of like just a sort of a soft reset back to how it was with 3025. You just got more factions and like better tech, basically, which isn't terrible. And the idea that the clans finally get what they've been after this whole time, but now they're just in the position of the headache of trying to basically manage the Innisphere, which is something they were never prepared for. It's like they took an awesome history and just threw it all away. Yeah, basically. Yeah, sees the balkanization in this field. Lots of factions, better tech. Yeah, I think it also gives them, the writers, more kind of jump off points if you want to create little narratives and small battles and conflicts that rage. So I think there's a lot more fertile ground there for them to do stuff. So I don't dislike that new setting, despite the fact that it's like the old clan or whatever. But I do like the fact that they're sort of struggling to kind of manage this thing that they've always thought they wanted, and they get it. Now it's kind of like, oh shit, it's a lot more work than we were expecting. So the Valkyrie is a 30-tonner. Its chassis is the Korean Model 1AA. Power plant is 150 Omni. Cruise speed of 54 kph, max speed of 86.4 kph. Jump jets are the Norse Industries 3S. Jump capacity 150 meters. Yeah, I'm sorry if my throat's getting worse. Armor is the Ryzen 470. Armament is a Sutel 9 medium laser and a single Devastator Series 07 LRM-10. Manufactured by Korean Enterprises. Communication system is the Lynx Shure, and the targeting and tracking is the Sync Tracker 39-42071. So this is a stat of 585 with 11 heat sinks. 8 armor on the head, 14 on the seat, 2 or 4 on the rear, 12 on the side torsos, 2 on the rear, 9 on the arms, and 12 on the legs. So not too bad armor-wise. The LRM-10 is located in the left torso with 12 rounds of ammunition, and the medium lasers in the right arm with the jump jets located in the center torso and the legs. I don't think it's going to be a full run through at this rate, Yobbo. Might get through all the lights because we're on like 25 past. So I don't think my throat is going to last a hell of a lot longer on this one. So we got the FS9-H Firestarter overview. The Firestarter was conceived primarily as an indirect assault unit. Constructed by Argyle Technologies of Skye from 2550 to the beginning of the Civil War in early 2776, it was successfully marketed as a highly mobile incendiary mech. Near 3,000 Firestarters saw active service. Most mech regiments contained a number of FS9s, and spare parts were usually stocked at all repair depots. Though many Firestarters have been gutted beyond repair, those that survive are usually in good condition. Because the FS9-H was a popular mech, a good supply of spare parts are still available. Capabilities. The Firestarter was rarely attached to a lance, but was rather assigned to a company or regiment. The commander would deploy the mech to support an attack, or to scout wooded terrain. Though a real threat to light mechs, a Firestarter can do little against the formidable armour and weapons of medium and heavy opponents. It has the ability to set fires that made the FS9 and made it so... Oh, fucking hell. Oh, screwed that up. Sorry. Yeah. Well, I'm not sorry if you're really enjoying this shit. My pain. An extra 15 minutes. More pain for me. Though a real threat to light mechs, a Firestarter can do little against the formidable armour and weaponry of medium and heavy opponents. It was the ability to set fires that made the FS9 so valuable. Skillfully placed blazes could rout enemy forces, break lines, and corner mechs. A whole series of tactics was developed around creating and spreading wildfires. Firestarter pilots are particularly fond of setting dense woods afire while enemy mechs are advancing through them, and of igniting buildings that are sheltering enemy troops. If an engagement is lost, a Firestarter can create fire and smoke to cover a retreat and hamper a pursuit. The Firestarter also works well as a scout. Its speed and armour give it good protection in the field, and not only could it map terrain as it travelled, but it could also clear away wooded areas that the enemy might use as defensive positions for an ambush. The Firestarter also carried out scorched earth missions in the early days of the Succession Wars. In recent decades, as armies attempt to capture and hold targets intact, scorched earth has become an extremely rare policy. It's only used even when long-term victory isn't possible, or when the target is too valuable to fall into enemy hands. Battle history. Sorry, what's this, Frank? I always look forward to your videos, even though I'm familiar with the data you read. I enjoy your after comments, which is why I usually reply with variants I create. Yeah, that's no problem. I mean, I always appreciate taking the time. So yeah, I mean, it's one of the cool things about BattleTech. Is you know, you just got all this cool background stuff, you know. So battle history. Since Firestarters were common in all mech forces before the Succession Wars, none of the 5 successor states has a shortage of these mechs. However, more and more Firestarters are being assigned to Lancers to replace light and medium mechs lost in action. In the earliest days of the First Succession War, the 2nd Lyran Guard was assigned to garrison the planet of Port Moresby. In addition to the regular units of her regiment, Colonel Alexandra Waters was also assigned 3 Firestarters. Port Moresby was a vitally important trade centre, and Waters was told to hold it at all costs. In August 2789, House Kurita attacked. Elements of McGavin's and Johiro's regiments landed near the capital city, despite the best efforts of Walker's aerospace fighter wing, and to escape the constant fighter attacks, the invaders advanced on the capital, through heavily wooded country. Seeing her chance, Colonel Waters sent her Firestarters into action. An intense drought had left the forests tinder dry, and the Firestarters quickly ringed the Cretan forces in flames. While the enemy mechs struggled through the burning forest, moving slowly to avoid overheating, Waters brought her forces to the edge of the fire, engaging the enemy as it stumbled from the inferno. After only a few hours of combat, the Cretan troops were forced to retreat off-world. While the 2nd Lyran Guard had suffered only light damage, fewer than half of the attackers would escape. This was the first major battle in which incendiary mechs were used. Their importance was emphasised when Cretan forces again assaulted Port Moresby later that year. Because the forest had been completely destroyed in the first battle, Colonel Waters couldn't repeat her fire-starting tactics. The superior Cretan forces would obliterate the 2nd Lyran Guard. The first battle for Moresby enhanced the prestige of the Firestarter, and commanders began experimenting with various methods of deploying the Firestarter. One popular idea concerning grouping them into igniter lancers would allow better coordination of incendiary activities. And while this concept worked well during major assault operations, the members of these lancers were usually reassigned once the campaign was over. Firestarters were often placed in command of wasps or stingers, and these fast light raider groups usually attacked lightly defended targets or worked as deep penetration scouts. Oh, did I account for daylight saving? I might need to have another hour. Really? I'll have to take that hit. Unfortunately, you know, as a yeah, it's a real shame. Variants. Although a number of variants were built, the Firestarter series was the most widely used. This was produced almost exclusively from 2703 onwards, and it became the de facto standard for incendiary mechs. One successful scout variant did replace the Flamers with 2 OMPEC-J small lasers and 3 additional ton of armour. Designated the FS9M, it was renamed the Mirage. Only a few of these were built before the catastrophic Night of Rage transformed Argyle Technologies and most of Sky's capital into desert waste. Some Mirages are still in service with the Sky Rangers, however. Notable mechs and mech warriors. Many light raiding parties have distinguished themselves throughout the Innisphere. Some of the most famous are Hecate's Light Lance and Sanderson's Raider Lance. Mech warrior Jenny Umbra. This mech warrior is called Hecate by those who know her. She captured her Firestarter while fighting with Hendrick's 12th Red Claw infantry. She scorns her past as a foot soldier and hates everything about infantry. She's aggressive, insubordinate, and spiteful, but a talented pilot. Her superiors are satisfied with sending her on the deep penetration scout missions for which she's so famous. Her grey and black mech took a direct hit from a PPC during a raid on Imbros, and since then the actuators on the mech's arm have been erratic, making aiming difficult. Despite this, Hecate continues her career as the Mistress of Flames in the service of Hendrik III of Oberon. And Lieutenant William Sanderson. Sanderson made his name as an expert city fighter with Hanson's Rough Riders. When his beloved Warhammer was destroyed, his regimental commander offered him a captured Firestarter. Grateful that he didn't join the ranks of the dispossessed, but determined to capture a heavy mech, Sanderson is a very aggressive fighter. His Firestarter bears the scars of several near-disastrous encounters. Line art-wise, probably one of the more detailed mechs in the whole book as well. The Firestarter just has a lot going on with it visually. It's a cool-looking mech, though. Yeah, the Mount Umbras are also about to... It's a strange universe crossover. Decades before they became a more common thing in games workshops, but yeah. Mass 35 ton, chassis is the Argyle H09, power plant is 210 GM, cruise speed is 64 kph, max speed 97 kph, with jump jets being the Firestone Radial 6s, jump capacity of 180 metres. Its armour is the Livingston Ceramics. Its armament is 2 Magna 2 medium lasers, 2 Depris RF light machine guns, and 4 Purity L series flamers, manufactured by Argyle Technologies of Skye. Communication system is the Tansec Omni 7. Why are there loads of hearts popping up from the bottom right of the chat? What the fuck was that all about? This isn't my OnlyFans account. What's going on? Targeting and tracking is the Tansec C30-97. So, it has a 696 movement with 10 single heat sinks. See these party emotes. Hearts and things popping up now. Really like the pith helmet look they got going on the Starlight. It's cool, isn't it? It looks really good. It looks like a little trooper with a little helmet. Not that kind of helmet. Head 9 armor, 13 on the C2, 6 on the rear, 12 on the right and left torso, 6 on the rear, and 6 on the arms, and 6 on the legs. So basically, as long as the arms don't get hit, it's okay. Otherwise, it's fucked. It gets hit, its arm falls off. There goes nearly all its weapons. It has a flamer in the right arm, a flamer in the CT, flamer in the left arm, and a flamer on the rear CT. It has medium laser in each arm, and 2 machine guns, 1 in each torso, with the ammo for the machine guns in the right torso. The right and left torso also have the jump jets as well. Cool looking mech. Obviously not one of those ones that gets used very often for its intended role on the tabletop of fighting infantry. And certainly one of those mechs ended up in games like Mech Warrior Online that felt like it didn't really have much use in its default loadout. I mean, flamers don't really work that well, and you obviously have the issue with the fact that everyone just modifies mechs instantly into something else, so the Firestarter just got more lasers straight away because you can convert flamers into energy weaponry. You want the bird things from that fucking... Yeah, I know that like weird apocryphal story, Frank, to become canon. Yeah, the weird bird people that travel with them. That's fucking weird. I do kind of like the idea, though, that it's one of those universes. It doesn't need aliens, you know. It's everything's just humans. You don't need like an alien race setting up. That would just make everything kind of weird, wouldn't it? So something that's like Star Wars with battle mechs, yeah, it wouldn't really work. I mean, we've got the lights, we got that, we got the Oscout, we got the Panther. Oh, we got Panther. We got 3 more lights. Probably get through them before the end of this. So the JR7D Jenner, a popular mech. No doubt, many takers for a Jenner. Overview. The Jenner is a relatively modern design, first constructed in 2784 by Diplan Mech Yards of Ozawa under contract to House Kirita. It was designed as a fast hit-and-run guerrilla fighter, with a maximum speed of 118.8 km per hour and a jump capacity of 150 meters. It was hoped that this mech would form the foundation for a new, highly mobile lance. The original Jenners mounted two Agra 27C medium lasers and a Diplan HD large laser on a central turret, but the configuration could easily be disarmed by a direct hit to the turret. The medium laser's targeting system was also plagued with problems. However, because the chassis and mobility subsystems performed well in trials, designers decided to refit the weapon systems instead of scrapping the entire design. The standard 10 heat sinks allowed the mech to move swiftly and fire without overheating. The Jenner was then modified to its current configuration, mounting 4 Agra 3L medium lasers, 2 per side, on directionally variable mounts. The Agra 3L replaced the older 27C because it had a better spectral purity and a more rugged focal system. The Thunderstroke SRM-4 was installed after additional tests showed the need for increased short-range firepower, and the resulting mech was the pride of Curitan forces. Designed and built at home, it was the optimum mix of speed, jump capacity, and firepower. The tete-a-tete, that's it, yeah. What, so if the Subnautica time exceeds 3 hours, I'm happy if you switch out an hour alien isolation. Fuck off, man. I am not re-downloading that just so you can laugh at me trying to run around in alien isolation. Ugh. Capabilities. Among the fastest mechs around, the Jenner packs good firepower at close range. Its optimum range is 30 to 90 meters, and its speed jump capability make it hard to hit. The Jenner can move in quickly, make its attack, and retreat before it can be seriously damaged. Because the Agra 3L medium lasers are the Jenner's main armament, the mech can operate for long periods without running out of ammunition. During long engagements or on deep raids, the 25 reloads available to the Thunderstroke SRM-4 could run out, and so this missile launcher is mostly used for the coup de grace, or to add extra hitting power in a difficult moment. Although the Jenner was designed as a close-range fighter, it lacks arms for punching and other physical attacks. The Jenner's designers felt that, because of the mech's low tonnage, it wouldn't be able to make efficient physical attacks. The Jenner has done well without them, except in grab-and-run raids made on enemy supply depots. During these, it lays down covering fire to allow mechs with hands to gather what they can. Battle history. When Diplan Mech Yards was completing the first Jenners in September 2784, tensions were running high. War seemed inevitable, more a question of when than if. Minoru Kurita took a personal interest in the Jenner, calling it the first of a new line, and ordered further design and development on heavier mechs with the Jenner's mobility. It was only fitting that Minoru Kurita's favourite mech should avenge his assassination. Waves of Jenners and other fast mechs entered the cities to carry out Jinjiro Kurita's directive to bathe accursed Kentaris in blood. The Jenner earned itself a place as the standard light warhorse of the Draconis Combine. Despite the outbreak of the First Succession War, construction continued at Diplan until 2815, when a shortage of raw materials brought the assembly plants to a halt. However, Diplan continued to produce its mech chassis. In 2823, production of Jenners resumed on Ozawa, and some 3,000 chassis were shipped to a Diplan subsidiary on Lufien for final fitting and assembly. Although heavily damaged by naval bombardment, the Diplan Lufien Corporation retooled its remaining plants for further assembly, and by 2830, Diplan of Ozawa and Diplan Lufien had a combined annual output of 1,350 Jenners. Throughout the Second Succession War, the Jenner continues the infamous tradition begun during the Kentaris massacre. Used singly or in groups, the Jenner is often sent behind enemy lines to create confusion and havoc. It was during these terror raids that the other houses first captured Jenners. By 2840, the Federated Sons and the Lyran Commonwealth both had a number of operational Jenners, and by 2845 it was used by all successor states, although it continues to be primarily used by Kurita. In 2847, elements of the Davian Heavy Guards supplied with Jenners painted in Draconis Combine colours led a lightning strike against Ozawa, gutting the Diplan Mech Yards. A year later, an unexplained explosion destroyed the remaining assembly plant on Lufien, and Jenner production ceased. Realising that manufacture of the Jenner was now impossible and yet critically short on mechs, Jinjiro Kurita ordered the Jenners to replace light mechs lost in battle. The Jenner's infamy faded, though, as its individuality was absorbed amongst its various lancemates. Despite its fall in status, the Jenner is still a favourite mech of the Combine, and it is the most popular mech in the Kurita, Recon and Light Attack Lances. Occasionally, it's still used as a raider, although this is becoming more and more rare. Variants. None of the original prototype Jenners remain, but some without the Thunderstroke SRM still survive. These are identical to the standard Jenner, but are more heavily armoured. Notable mechs and mech warriors: Sergeant James Green. Green was famous as the man who led the death squads into the capital city of Kentaris. Little is known about him, except that he was fanatically loyal to Kurita. In memory of the Kentaris massacre, he painted his Jenner black and red. His mech is still in service today, piloted by his direct descendant, Hugo Green. Mech warrior Karl Trojensky. Karl captured the first operational Jenner for the Federated Suns in 2837. The duel left Trojensky's Ossol a smouldering wreck, and he claimed the less damaged Jenner as his prize. Both he and his new mech were soon lost after a skirmish on Bennett 3. And finally, mech warrior Grace Shiro. A member of the Razzle Harg regulars, Grace is the youngest of 5 siblings in the service of House Kurita. She's known as a daring and skilled mech warrior, fond of hunting larger mechs. Both she and her mech have been seriously wounded several times, but miraculously both have survived. This has earned her the nickname Cat, though few would bet on how many lives she has left. This is, the Kentaris Massacre. Those were the days. Still a great looking mech. One of the better designs. Not because it looks really cool or anything like that. It was just the fact that it was so unique visually. It just kind of stands out. Immediately identifiable. Great weapons loadout. A little hot, obviously, but outside of that, it's a very effective little design. So it's 35 ton. Its chassis is the Dipland Scout A. Its power plant is a 245 Magna. Its cruise speed is 75.6 kph. And its max speed is 118.8 kph. Its jump jets are Smithson Lifters. Its jump capacity is 150 meters, and its armor is Star Shield. Armament is 4 Agra 3L medium lasers and a Thunderstroke SRM4, and it's manufactured by Dipland Mech Yards. Communication system is Dawson 3. Its targeting and tracking is the BK309. So it has the unusual movement profile of 7, 11, and 5 with 10 single heat sinks. It has armor on the head of 7, 10 on the CT with 3 on the rear, 8 on the side torsos with 4 on the rear, 4 on the arms, and 6 on the legs. So as you can see, it sacrifices a lot of armor for that good firepower, though. That's the big downside with Jenners. Be very easily killed. Its SRM4 is located in the CT with the ammo in the right torso. The lasers are 2 in each arm, so the jump jets are located in the torsos. So, not a bad little layout. But, yeah, definitely one of the more iconic light mechs, I think, of Battletech, to be honest. I think MWO did a good job redesigning the Jenner, but, yeah, I never complained about the original. It's always pretty cool. Alright, let's see. Just getting on for quarter 2, okay. The Oss Scout. The mech always looks like it's reclining as it walks. It's also very ugly. It's a very ugly looking mech. It's also the wrong art. It's obviously not the Oss Scout. That's the Oss Sol, I believe, is the artwork. But, yeah. The OTT-7J Oss Scout. Overview. The Oss Scout was designed for one purpose: scouting. Its maneuverability, high speed, and jump capacity allow it to avoid trouble easily. Poorly gunned and armoured, it can only engage the lightest of mechs with a reasonable assurance of victory. Enhanced sensor arrays and a high-resolution targeting and tracking system supply the OTT with a constant stream of data about its surroundings. Powerful narrowband communications equipment allows the Oss Scout to report from deep inside enemy territory. It is moonwalking, yeah. Capabilities. With a maximum speed of 129.6 km per hour, the Oss Scout can cover ground quickly. Specialized equipment allows it to map as it goes, recording environmental, hydrological, and geological information, unusual features being automatically noted and brought up to the pilot's attention by the onboard systems. To avoid interference from the magneto-hydrodynamic systems, the sensor arrays were installed outside the main chassis. The OTT uses its actuator systems to aim its sensor array. The Oss Scout often travels slowly through interesting areas, waving the arrays in a seemingly random pattern, and during these periods of maximum intensity scanning, the OTT is vulnerable to attack, because it's accumulating data faster than it can process. The approach of enemy units often goes unnoticed until they open fire. However, if the first salvo doesn't cripple the Oss Scout, it will very likely escape. Not only is the Oscout equipped with a jump capability of 240 meters, but it also has sufficient heat sinks to dissipate all of that heat that any maneuver would generate. If it jumps only 210 meters, the Oscout can also fire its laser without overheating. The OTT's ability to jump and fight allows it to escape from trouble quickly, although technicians have developed a variety of plausible strategies to trap mechs such as the Oscout. There seems to be a substantial gap between theory and practice. Because the Oscout has a history of avoiding firefights whenever possible, many are in mint condition and still possess their original League sensor systems and data evaluation systems. Because these are near unique today, commanders have consistently attempted to keep the Oscout out of a fight. The 7K is the most dangerous of all variants. Yeah. Excuse me. Battle history. The Oscout often contributes invaluable information. A successful scouting mission can eliminate most guesswork required for any offensive. Exact information about topography and enemy disposition are vital. The history of the Oscout is a list of daring missions deep behind enemy lines, accumulating such information. During the rebellion of 3010, Janos Marek used Oscouts extensively to gain information on rebel movements and strengths. In 2950, Oscouts were used on Thule to hunt down the last members of one of Valasek's raiding parties. Although, all through the winter of 3001, Oscouts scoured the surface of Kasai 4, looking for a League parts deposit and finding only empty bunkers. In early September of 3021, 4 Oscouts were dropped over New Iverson by Dracona's compound dropships. Did I say compound? I said compound, didn't I? I said combine, sorry. To scout possible landing sites for a Kurita invasion force. Throughout the following 5 weeks, the Oscouts were on the run from Davian patrols and search parties, and despite this near constant pursuit, the Oscouts managed to accumulate all necessary information and signal the invasion fleet. Of the 4 scouts, only 1 was slightly damaged. The 1,000-kilometer chase took place in 3024 due to a computer error. An Oscout was dropped near 1,000 kilometers behind enemy lines. Mech warrior Mary Finn of the Chesterton Reserves earned her nickname of Hopscotch because of her incredible success in avoiding the 3 regiments of Smithson's Chinese bandits massing there for an offensive. During the 10-hour ordeal, Finn managed to accumulate enough info to allow the Capellan Confederation to launch an effective counterattack. Variants. Because of its valuable nature as a scout, all Oscouts in service retain their original configuration. Obviously, that long since changed. Notable mechs and mech warriors. Mech warrior Mary Hopscotch Finn. This daring pilot enjoys long scouting missions and seems to thrive on the danger involved. Although her mech has never been seriously damaged, she has come close to disaster twice. Once during the 1,000-kilometer chase and once during a recon mission on Demeter. In addition to her skills as a pilot, she's also a top tech who insists on doing her own maintenance. She's particularly protective of her Oscout's valuable and irreplaceable sensor arrays, and without them, her mech would be assigned to regular duty, and she has no delusions about her chances in a fight. What? No. No sniper rounds. Nope. Mech warrior Igor Minsky. Since his desertion from the Davian Guards in 2994, Minsky has been in the employ of Hendrik III, earning a high salary for his services. Oscouts are rarely available to bandit kings, and so Minsky has been appointed to Hendrik's personal guard as insurance against surprise attacks. And mech warrior Stephen Graham. As a member of Wolf Dragoon's special recon group, Stephen has scouted all types of terrain, but finds cities most to his liking. He'll usually jump in his Oscout from roof to roof, coming down to street level only when absolutely necessary. This practice near killed him on Hesperus 2 when a building collapsed under him. Only quick action by a nearby lance of dragoons saved the mech from being crushed. Despite this, he continues his roof-hopping habits. He maintains that it's the best way to see the town. Well, I mean, if there was an actual 50 cal sniper round coming out, I wouldn't be moving very quick for it the way I feel at the moment. So this reclining bastard, which as Erwin points out, is not actually the Oscout artwork, that is the Ostsol. The Oscout obviously looks a lot better these days. I think the update for it makes it look a lot cooler, actually. The mass is 35 tons, its chassis is the Kel S model, power plant is 280 Vox, its cruise speed of 86.4 kph, its max speed 129.6 kph. Its jump jets are the Ostman SCT-A with a jump capacity of 240 meters. Armor is Duralex Light, and its armament is a single Tronal 2 medium laser.
manufactured by Kong Interstellar Corporation. Communication system is the Barrett 4000, and its targeting and tracking system is the TRSS.2L3. Translates to an 812-8 movement profile with only 10 heat sinks needed, of course. It has 6 armor on the head, 12 on the CT with 4 on the rear, 9 on the side torsos with 2 on the rear, 6 on the arms, and 8 on the legs, with the medium laser located in the CT and the jump jets in the right and left torsos. And we come to our last light of the list, the PNT-9R Panther, my favourite light mech. Yeah, as one of my favourite light mech. Something about it just looks fucking cool, doesn't it? Big angry cat. A big angry PPC. And lit lesser M4. Overview. Designed as a fire support vehicle for reconnaissance units, the prototype Panther was first built for Star League during the closing years of the Cameron dynasty. After being commissioned in 2739 to produce the mech, Al-Shane Weapons began immediate delivery of Panthers to League ground troops fighting renegade bandits along the periphery. The mech's poor performance at the Battle of St. John in 2759 pointed out both a flaw and a strength. The flaw was that the large laser carried in the mech's right hand lacked effective range and power. The strength was the mech's basic hardiness. To improve this battle-worthy machine's firepower, Star League engineers replaced the large laser with a PPC. The Draconis Combine now is the only successor state that today uses the Panther in any significant number. The current model, the 9R, is a compromise developed by Combine engineers. Though lacking the original Panther's sophistication, its systems are more adaptable to present-day factories. Capabilities. The Panther's main function is as fire support for light and fast-moving units. It's played this role for almost 300 years, providing covering fire for more mobile mechs who are in a mid-maneuver, whether toward or away from the enemy. Its PPC is unusual for a mech of its size. An extraordinary weapon, the Lord's Light PPC combines the firepower of a standard PPC with the lightness and flexibility of an arm-carried weapon. The weapons designers only partially solved the problem of reducing the number of coolant tubes needed to pass from the mech through access navels on the right hand and elbow into the weapon, however. Many mech warriors report that rugged use, such as hand-to-hand combat or bashing buildings, often pinches off the coolant tubes at the navel, and this creates overheating, which in turn causes the weapon to shut down. To meet this problem, 3 of the Panther's 13 heat sinks are mounted directly on its arm. Though these do provide extra cooling for the PPC, the original problem remains. For close-in work, the Panther carries 4 SRM tubes with enough ammunition for 25 shots. The reliable Telos system is placed in the mech's chest area, which ensures good protection. It was discovered early in the Panther's career that it is well suited to the dirty tactics of city fighting. The nimble mech easily moves through restricted spaces of a city, while its PPC gives it the chance of disabling all but the heaviest mechs with a few aimed shots. From rooftop ambushes to muggings on dark streets, the Panther has gained quite a reputation. For its city fighting prowess, Lyran Commonwealth mech warriors have nicknamed it the Alley Cat. What it can't do, even in a city, is face a heavy mech unit like the Warhammer or Zeus in a head-on engagement. Finding himself in that situation, the Panther pilot must rely on good shooting and the mech's superior mobility to leave the field in one piece. Battle history. As noted above, the Draconis Combine is the only successor state who still employs the Panther in large numbers, and this is because the Combine controls the only working Panther factory, located on the temperate world of Al-Shane. Other successor states do still have a few Panthers, usually the 8Zs, but their numbers are fast dwindling due to a lack of spare parts. Though there have been many attempts to knock out the factory at Al-Shane, the fact that it's housed in the bowels of a mountain makes it a tough target. The factory is churning out Panthers for Kurita as fast as possible, slowed down only by the delay in getting targeting computers delivered from clear across the Combine. Kurita first used Panthers in a large-scale offensive action on the planet of Quentin during the First Succession War, and the action remains a model for how the Combine employs the mech. Once the 2nd Legion of Vega was reorganized with Panthers as the mainstay of its light units, it was ordered to assault the agricultural planet Quentin, owned by Duke Davian. Catching Davian's 42nd Avalon Hussars off guard, the 2nd Legion mauled them severely. Though the Hussars' mechs were generally heavier and had more firepower, they couldn't react fast enough to the fleet-footed Panthers, who were firing heavy hits with their PPCs. The Hussars retreated, giving up the only major city and spaceport on Quentin. The victory there paled in significance, however, when Minoru Kurita was assassinated on Kentari's 4 at about the same time. To support his rage against the people of Kentaris, Jinjiro Kirita took troops and supplies away from the 2nd Legion and had them sent in as reinforcements to the Kentaris front. In the meantime, the 42nd Avalon Hussars had been reinforced by units of the 4th Deneb Light Cavalry. Suddenly, on the defensive, the Panthers of Kirita's 2nd Legion bore the brunt of the Hussars' counterattack. From prepared positions in and around the city, the Panthers held off an onslaught by Davian warhammers and marauders, and the delaying action would lead Captain Ted Redbeard Henry to create enormous confusion in the Davian advance. His troops' actions allowed the safe withdrawal of the 2nd Legion when it became apparent that there was no hope of reinforcement. Variants. The PNT-8Z, the last of the Star League Panther designs, differs from the 9R only in its more advanced communications equipment and smaller fire control computer. Notable mechs and mech warriors then are mech warrior Melinda Carlisle. A member of Hanson's Rough Riders, Carlisle's Panther is one of the few seen outside the Combine. Painted a dull green with bright yellow stripes, her mech, the Tooth Puller, is well known as a terror to the enemy. Melinda Carlisle is a loner whose one joy is deflating the large egos of Combine mech warriors who believe they're the only ones able to handle a Panther. Upon sighting an enemy Panther, she will seek it out and hunt it down, even if it means leaving her post. Having reached the ripe age of 47, she's proven who's the better Panther pilot more than a few times. Colonel Richard Armram. As commander of the 3rd Proserpina Hussars, Colonel Armram is entitled to a heavier mech, more befitting his high rank. As the colonel is a tradition-bound man whose blue and gold Panther, the Lord Yama, belonged to his father, he sees no reason to give it up. If anyone ever worried about Armram would be able to keep up with the flow of battle in such a small mech, they need no bother any longer. It's the colonel's command group that has to keep up with him, as he jumps from front to front, keeping personal tabs on the battle and participating if necessary. More than once, his gunnery skills have helped to turn the tide. Ah, beautiful machine. Beautiful. No, you can't hate it, Frank. It's beautiful. It's great. Panther should be fine against a Warhammer. One glancing hit and the Warhammer would be missing most of its mech in retreat. Screw you, man. Screw you. Panther is perfection. Same as the Warhammer. They need not be modified, for they are already that which was given to us by Mech God. Mech God gave us 2 perfect designs, and we never need to tinker with perfection. So yeah, it's a 35-tonner, obviously. Its chassis is the Allahane 56 Carrier. Power plant is the Hermes 140. Its cruise speed of 43.2 kph and its max speed of 64.8 kph. Jump jets are Lexington lifters. Armor capacity is jump capacity is 120 meters. Its armor is the Maximilian 42. It has a single Telos 4-shot SRM missile system and a Lord's Light particle protection weapon, manufactured by Alshane Weapons. Communications is Cypher Comcon CSU-4. Its targeting and tracking is Cat's Eyes 5. This gives it a movement profile of 464, which is quite slow when all the discussion about it is, oh, it's really fast, it can move around. It can jump 4. It's not that fast at all. But, yeah, the writing sometimes doesn't quite gel with the stats, does it? Has 9 armor on the head, 14 on the torso with 7 on the rear, 10 on the side torsos with 5 on the rear, 10 on the arms and 12 on the legs. The SRM being located in the CT with 25 shots of ammo on the left torso and the PPC in the right arm with the jump jets in the legs. Although, I think we've clocked in a horrendous time of 2.5 hours of Subnautica, but I managed to get 3 perfect reads in that. I do apologise to everybody. I really wish I didn't have this remainder of this cold. I would have continued on. I would have read more of it because my throat would have been a lot better. But you can probably tell it's getting worse slowly. The more I'm reading, the more it's just gonna get it's just gonna end up with me just coughing more and heavier. So I'm kind of surprised I managed to get through all the lights as we did. But yeah, maybe in the future I can come back to this as another silly stream. So that'll be the last Thursday stream of 2024. Tomorrow will be the last Friday stream of 2024. We're going to be doing a group drop. It'll be the Forever Winter. So we'll be doing a stream of that if you want to see us getting murdered by all manner of Plus 5 minutes per missed page. Fuck off, BFG. That's harsh. That is very harsh, especially since the tanks and the aerospace fighters, aren't there? Why does that look like a toddler in a romper suit? Anyway, oh god, pardon me. But yeah, I'm also kind of fucked. I've got other phone calls to I've got to pick up a prescription. I've got to get a video made in the next 4 hours. So yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff I've got to get sorted. So thanks everyone for joining. It was fun. So we'll wrap up there. If you could join for tomorrow's stream, please do. As I said, it'll just be us probably getting horribly murderized. Otherwise, have yourselves a good weekend, and obviously a good holiday period, Christmas, whatever it is. If you do or don't celebrate it, either way, have a good sort of Christmas time, and obviously a fun New Year. So yeah, have a good one, and I'll catch some of you next time. Bye bye.